Hello. So this is my second video, and I feel absolutely fine videoing today. I don't know why I had so many nerves. Um, Yesterday's video was a mess. But I needed to do it because I needed to sort of shake the nerves. So yeah, today's a new day. And today's video, as requested in the comments, is all about diabetes. Diabetes, woo! Yeah, so I was diagnosed with diabetes in February 2005. So I was 5 years old, and so I was going six that year. I was born in 1999. So yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 5 years old, and I had all of the symptoms. I had lack of appetite, fatigue. I was wetting myself a lot, which was terribly embarrassing. Loss of weight, and I was drinking excessively, like stupid amounts. I'd have like 3 pints in a row of water, and that is so much for a 5-year-old. And when I mean fatigue, I was literally just sleeping all the time. I went from a really active child to just doing nothing at all. So the first thing I will talk through is how I manage it. So I have a meter, and I've got testing strips and a finger pricker. So this basically, all you do is, I won't do it on camera because I know people don't like blood, but yeah, so you put a needle in your finger and put the blood on the testing strip, and it tells you what you are. But I am actually fortunate to have this here, which is a Freestyle Libre, and all I do is I use my phone and scan it like this, and it tells me what I am. So yeah, pretty good. Love it. It's been a godsend. Onto other things. I have this on my body, on my leg at the moment. This is my Omnipod. You saw it in the first video. So this is so I don't have to give injections anymore. So an insulin pump is so freeing. I had two before this. They were all wired. So I had big long wires about this long, and everyone used to laugh at me and call me like the Terminator and stuff. It was not a very funny joke. But I'm fine, everything's fine. But yeah, so these are amazing. I would recommend them to any diabetic. You have to change them every 3 days, which is a little bit annoying, but yeah, really good. Really enjoy it. It's I always say it's the closest to being a non-diabetic as possible. That's my way of describing it anyway. So you fill these up with insulin. Before that, I was on injections, so 2 injections, but so I'd have this one once a day, usually at night time. That's Levemir in there. I've had quite a big dose of that. It was about 15 units, which is quite a lot. And then I also have Nova Rapid. So that's how this looks like. Not a very big needle, really easy to administer. All you do is twist the end and just put it straight in. So yeah, so I used to have this every time I ate. So anytime I'd have anything with carbohydrate or sugar in, I gave insulin with that, and I eat a lot. So I used to have probably about 20 of these a day. Hence, I use a lot of insulin, which is why I'm lucky to live in England, which I'll get onto that later. So if I ever have too much insulin, or I am exercising a lot, or I'm very warm, like the weather's really warm now, so I've been going low a lot, I will have low blood sugar, which means I can eat loads of jelly babies. Which sounds great, but it's really not, because I don't even like them. They're just really good at getting my blood sugars back up. But yeah, low blood sugar, that has dizziness. You feel really, really hot. I sort of feel like I'm gonna faint, and I'm wobbly, and my hands shake a lot, and I feel sick. It's kind of like if you've ever been very, very drunk and thrown up, how you feel then. That's the closest I can get for somebody who's not diabetic to kind of know what I'm feeling. Being low is, it's depends how low you go. Some lows don't faze me. I'll just have some jelly babies, get on with my life. Sometimes they can be very scary. I've had times in the past where I've had seizures, and if that ever happens, I have this emergency pen right here, which basically brings me back to life. Because seizures can be very scary. They're met with convulsions, and obviously I can't speak, completely unconscious. I've not had too many, a handful as such, so I'm very lucky in that aspect, but still I would rather have none at all, because they've caused a lot of issues. And also being low as well can it's not good on your body. It's bad strain for your body, and they say it causes certain brain damages and things. But I try not to read too much into it because it can get quite depressing, I suppose. I get these on prescription, which are glucose. They're basically like tablets, like crunchy, sugary tablets, and they're absolutely vile. And I also get these as well, which are disgusting. Hence why I have jelly babies, which I don't even like anyway, but nicer than all that. Yeah, so if I have too much, sometimes I panic and I have far too much sugar and my blood sugar goes all the way up. So I've got to give insulin, got to give the fast acting one, but I give this by my pump, which I'm very lucky to have. So I give insulin and I drink lots of water, because what you want to do is just flush everything out of your body as fast as possible, because when you're high, you are thirsty, you feel dizzy, you feel constantly sick, like you're on the brink of being sick. Sometimes you are sick if you have ketones, which is where you're high for a certain amount of time in your blood. In some cases it can turn acidic and things like that. It's not a very nice feeling. It makes you just feel rubbish, and even when you come down you can still feel quite grotty for quite a few hours. And yeah, I don't think I prefer being high or low. Like I don't think there's one worse than the other, but I'd say they're both as bad as each other. But in the sense of feeling better, you have a quicker turnaround from being low. So in a way I'm kind of more leaning into that side, but either way, still terrible. You don't want either, because it's not good for your body and you don't want to incur any complications. I've had a few people in my life who have lost their vision. They've lost fingers, toes, arms, legs, their lives in some cases. So you've got to be very careful, which can be hard with diabetes because there's no day off and it can be really debilitating in some senses. And there's this thing called diabetic burnout, where I guess in like a short way to describe it, it's just where you're fed up of having it. Sometimes, I've been diabetic for 15 years, I just want a day off, and it's wrong, but sometimes, people will just leave it for the day because they've just had it, and that's what burnout is. It's not good for us, it's not something to glorify, but I think it's important to know that people with diabetes, even though it's seen as quite an easy illness to look after, it's very hard. Obviously not as hard as some, but it's like fighting a losing battle quite a lot, and it caused me a lot of issues growing up. And I've only now, as I've got older, I'm almost 21, started to feel comfortable in myself and really sort of show it off as something that I'm proud of looking after, because it takes guts to be your own pancreas for 15 years. Like, that is working all around the clock. So yeah, anybody who's diabetic watching this, a quick congratulations to you for being really just amazing, because it's an illness that's hard, but there's a way to get around it. We can manage it, and we're very strong for doing so. And it's important that you sort of give yourself a pat on the back sometimes, because life can be very difficult, especially with diabetes, because everything affects it. But there's one thing I wanted to talk about mainly when I spoke about insulin earlier. So this is Nova Rapid. So the American version has a slightly different name, but it's all the same. This in America costs the same amount, a girl told me, as a Nintendo Switch, which is around £350, which is extortionate. I have a lot of insulin every month. I probably have about 3 vials every month, so you can imagine the amount of money that would cost me, plus the money for these are I think it's £45 a sensor. You change them every 2 weeks. There's so much stuff that is just, you can imagine how much everything costs. And for me, I worked out to run my diabetes, if I was in America, is well over £1,000 every single month, which is just, I can't even, it makes me feel sick to think about. But the worst part about that is that is people's realities, and in some cases people just cannot get the money, they can't get any donations, and they die. That is the saddest part. And as pessimistic and as dark as that sounds, that is the sad truth to it all. People have insulin rationed for decades in America because they don't have enough money to afford insulin. People have given people their last vials to save other people's lives and put their own at risk, and it's incredibly brave of them. It just sickens me to my core that even has to happen. These vials I have, I probably have about 50 of these in the fridge at all times. I could throw this at the wall and be absolutely fine. I've got 49 more downstairs. I probably have loads in my car. I've got them at people's houses. I leave them random places. I get everything for free from the NHS, and I'm so lucky, and I will never ever take that for granted. People in America are dying for this. People are risking their lives to give this to each other. People are meeting up in car parks just to make sure that somebody else can live. In the Black Lives Matter protest right now, there are diabetics begging for people to meet up in Minnesota and Minneapolis to get insulin, because with all the protests going on, they've got no access and they have no money. And it just upsets me, and I hate, in some senses, I hate that I live in England in some case, because I feel ignorant to all of that and I feel almost useless, and I want to be able to help. But I found out as of recently in the past year that there's so many ways you can help. There's a hashtag called it's hashtag insulin for all with the number 4. I beg you to look it up. I really encourage you to read and heighten your awareness about insulin costs and the care management in America as a whole. It's absolutely disgusting, and the fact that people are dying and nobody cares. They just want money. Yeah, please look into it. There's lots of places you can donate to, like Insulin for All. They do their own merch and everything like that. Everything you buy, all the proceeds go to helping fight the cause. So please look it up. Please educate yourselves. It's a very important debate, and I think you'd be very surprised if you knew how many people, whether it be celebrities or people on the street you walk past, that were type 1 diabetic. It is considered an invisible illness. It's not very invisible when I have these on, but it is an invisible illness. You don't necessarily see it on someone unless they have an insulin pump or a sensor like that. So please, just look out for these people. Diabetes isn't the hardest thing in the world, but it's definitely hard, and I'm very lucky to have people in my life that look after me and are understanding. A lot of people don't have that, so if you care for someone or are friends with someone who's diabetic and you're looking out for them, thank you, and please keep doing so. That's all I want to say on today's video. I wanted to keep it slightly light-hearted. I didn't want to go too dark, especially with it only in the second video as well. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Please stay safe and wash your hands, and also remember that all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. Please get involved in the debates.